Joey Concepcion is the Vice Chairman of the MSME Development Council, Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises Development Council. Also more important, because I think we will be hosting ASEAN, Philippines will be hosting ASEAN Summit in 2026. Mr. Joey Concepcion is also the chairman of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council for the Philippines. In the private sector, he is also well known as the president and CEO of the oldest, tama ba ko? The pioneer flour mill in Asia, RFM Corporation, na kung di ako mistaken, founded by your late grandfather, Salvador Araneta. Hindi pa pinanganak most of us here. He is also chairman of the board of directors, kung mahilig kayo mag-ice cream, Unilever RFM Ice Cream Inc. He is also the chairman. Kaya tamang-tama, malapit na Pasko, malakas ang benta niya whether economy is good or not. He is also director of Concepcion Industrial Corporation, plus many others. Let us welcome Jose Maria Araneta Concepcion III, more well-known as Joey Concepcion. Welcome for your opening statement, Mr. Concepcion, about anything about the economy you want to talk about. After your opening statement, we'll open the floor for questions sa media. Ang request natin, yung mga questions natin, make it a little bit short kasi Mr. Concepcion has a lunch in Makati around 12 o'clock, so he has to leave in 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Joey Concepcion. We'll show a video first, and then he will give us an overview of the economy, especially jobs, and ASEAN.
If we really want to change the landscape of prosperity for all in this country, definitely our farmers have to be addressed.
Agriculture is in the top in job generation. So if we elevate the lives of our MSMEs, then more jobs will be generated for our people in this country.
The agricultural sector is the cornerstone of the nation's economic development, and investing in its improvement ensures food security for all Filipinos. Responding to the need to empower our agripreneurs, Go Negosyo launches a new initiative that aims to foster the transformation of major agricultural commodities and industries, and promoting a conducive business environment that is both sustainable and inclusive. Kalap, Kapatid, Angat Lahat Agri-Program. Anchored on Go Negosyo's 3 M's of MSME development: access to mentorship, money, and market. The program aims to empower farmers and fisherfolks to be entrepreneurs and propel them to be significant drivers of economic growth, job creation, and human development. With a conglomerate of the country's top corporations as big brothers, mentoring agri-MSMEs and integrating them into their own value chains, creating a foundation for a sustainable business ecosystem. In collaboration with multiple government agencies, the initiative aims to support existing programs for MSMEs to improve key industries and sectors in the Philippines, further strengthening the country's economy.
We will harness the strengths of various sectors to ensure a more cohesive government approach in creating a more sustainable environment for our MSMEs and all our important stakeholders.
The private sector, the government, synergizing towards recovery, resilience, and sustainability of the agricultural sector.
Shared prosperity is not a dream, it is a must that we have to do. When you help people and make them successful, these same people that you will help who become successful will help others. So as we continue that circle of prosperity, then we will truly achieve an inclusive Philippines.
inculcating a culture of entrepreneurship, innovation, and inclusivity among agripreneurs. Kapatid, Angat Lahat Agri-Program.
Thank you very much for that short video. We'd like to invite now Mr. Joy Concepcion to give us his opening statement, anything about the economy of the Philippines that you want to share to the media and to the public. Welcome.
Good morning. I think it's my second time na rin dito, no?
Yes, second time.
But now it's different look.
Yes.
So, there are a lot of people who are still skeptical na whether the Philippines is on the right track, no? Remember, previous to President Marcos becoming our president today, we encountered one very big crisis, no, which was the pandemic. And that happened in basically starting 2019, 2021, and still up to 2022, you felt the effects. So ang tinamaan talaga dito yung mga maliit na negosyante. And for them to come back, it took time, no? Kasi yung mga utang nila sa bangko, syempre, at yung mga ibang inutang nila sa mga microfinance at that time, they could not pay, no? And of course, kung sirado ang isang negosyo over 1 year and a half, talagang mahirapan. At marami dyan talagang naubos yung kapital nila. So, in time, slowly, as the economy opened, and that's why we've been always advocating, but during the time of President Duterte, I was on the other side saying that we have to gradually open the economy. At nangyari naman yan. Pero there was about 4 months that it was a complete shutdown. No? So kung may utang ka at hindi mo makababayad dyan, yun ang problema. So for the banks to start lending the entrepreneurs, they have to see momentum coming back. No? So halos the year late 2021, 22, write-off na talaga yan. So under this administration, there is still a bit of that because not everybody is back to 100%. Some have fully recovered, some are not able to recover. Kaya itong programa natin sa Go Negosyo, kasama natin dito yung Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Agriculture, we always have to think positive. At yan ang sinasabi ko dito. Minsan, nakikita natin sa dyaryo na minsan it somehow affects yung kumpiyansa ng isang negosyante kung nakikita nila na, uy, ang dami natin problema. May problema tayo, pero there is a solution. So, today, you can see most of our MSMEs have recovered. The banks have refinanced their loans. There is a renewed confidence on this leadership, which is important. At isang malaking bagay na ginawa ni President Marcos is his belief in the private sector. Alam niya na ang private sector, yung mga entrepreneurs dito, big companies, mga mismong may-ari, are successful because they know their business model. And nobody has ever done this to create what we call a private sector advisory council in about 6 sectors, no? Jobs, which I am the lead together with Tessie Coson, Kevin Tan, all of these big businessmen. And may mga grupo dyan in agriculture, in digitalization, infrastructure. So these are different groups. So you have basically close to 35 of the top brightest entrepreneurs in the country helping government. Malaking bagay yan. Kasi, of course, we have good people in government working. Pero if you add the entrepreneurial drive, the vision of these people, they have all been successful. So they know itong mga problema natin in our country. So this is a big plus that I see na private sector is taking a role in helping government push our economy forward. The other day, nakita natin medyo yung World Bank ba yan, predict na
ADB hata sabi,
ADB na yung
bababa economic growth.
ang economic growth down to 5 point something from 6 something. Pero we cannot look at those kasi it moves up and down. So what's important is we have to generate, yung importante dito yung trabaho. Yun ang importante. And eventually, the quality of jobs. No? Hindi rin natin, continuous pa rin yung mga, many of our people are working overseas. Isang problema rin yan, yung pandemya, halos yung mga nurses natin nawawala. Now, when people ask me, we should restrict people from going overseas. I don't believe in that. I think it's the freedom of every human being to choose where he wants to be. Now, of course, you cannot compete against what these countries pay for, the nurses, the maritime people. So habang may demand sa ibang bansa, we have to give them that opportunity to take that. It's a big sacrifice na alis sila sa pamilya and work overseas. But unfortunately, these jobs that are offered pay very well. So you cannot, hold them from leaving kasi eventually that sacrifice that the mother or the father takes, pupunta rin yan giginhawa rin ang pamilya. They will be able to go to better schools, no? At they will live a better life. So how do we prevent that? We cannot. There will come a time as our economy grows, then you will see wages also increase, no? And that is important. Job generation and the quality of jobs are very important. Now, quality of jobs, we really have to train our people, no, on their skills. They have to elevate. And isang programa ng ginagawa namin sa Jobs Committee na how can we upskill our people. That's very important. Nakikita natin, we excel in nursing, we excel in maritime, kaya talagang yan ang number one target ng mga other countries to get from us these talented people. So that is where we have to also focus. Where the demand is overseas, we have to continuously make sure that there is enough supply or else baka mawalan tayo ng mga nurses dito. So, and that is one effort that we're trying to do. So, the country's economic problem will eventually be resolved. Itong isang area na sinasabi ko, ang agriculture. That is the most challenging sector na talagang dahil sa mga typhoons natin dito, you can be wiped out. Kaya itong programa na ginagawa ngayon ng Department of Agriculture and si Secretary Estrella with the Department of Agrarian Reform, the condonation of all the debt on that frees up that land, no? And ngayon, they are going through and seeing to it that the titles belong to the right owners. Importante yan because eventually, itong programa dati na we gave land to the farmers, but this land, bawal umutang sa bangko using the land as collateral. So halos hindi magamit nila. So what they do, not legally is they sell it, you know. So ngayon medyo they're now reconstructing that, and I think Secretary Estrella has achieved already at least 1,000 to 300 hectares, which hopefully will now be used properly. And we all know that we need scale in agriculture. 1 hectare, 3 hectares, 5 hectares will not give a farmer scale. Mahirapan sila. Or if they set up a cooperative, minsan, kalimitan dyan, nag-aaway rin sila. So, kailangan they are managed well, no? So, I think the first step has been done, and I have to congratulate Secretary Estrella. And this government right now has realized that block farming, or in other words, you can, to be viable as a farmer, you at least need 24 to 25 hectares. No? So that is a study done by FEF, no? Foundation for Economic Freedom. No? And si Fermin Adriano, who is our advisor here also, has made that statement. So, in other words, if we really want to improve the lives of our farmers and reduce the level of poverty, the only way is to really scale up our farmers. So, there are two options there. A, the farmer can just sell his land and just get out, or lease the land to a big brother and just collect rent. The other option we are telling them is that join a big brother. What we mean by a big brother? This is a large agri-entrepreneur, very successful. So we have identified about 30 to 45 of these big brothers. So katulad ni Winston Uy dito sa Ilocos, is the largest tobacco farmer. No? You've got Christian Muller in Palawan. It's one of the biggest in coconut. You've got Simon Baker for cocoa. So maraming ganito, no? And they are willing to work with the farmers and give them a fair deal, no? In other words, if they will there be a partner, then they will be provided with the technology, the mentorship, and the market, because they will be able to procure their produce. So may arrangement yan. So contract growing, contract farming is, to my mind, the way forward with established, successful Agri-Big Brothers. So yan ang programa ng KALAP, no? Kapatid Angat Lahat Agri Program. So this effort in agriculture, and that's why the President is still the Secretary of Agriculture, is very important, because that will make the difference whether we can reduce the level of poverty in this country. Kasi yung karamihan ng mga MSMEs natin ay mga micro at small farmers. At yung hindi lang yung maraming challenges kasi dito. So, yung mga big brothers natin, they have the latest technology in determining weather. They use drones for that, no? So, that is on the table, and the President knows that we have to have scale. So, I'm confident that before his term ends, we will be able to work out and scale up our farmers. No? There is no other way if we want to bring down the level of poverty. So, in a nutshell, yun ang mga programa. Go Negosyo is very active with the Department of Trade and Industry. Nakikita natin in every shopping center. This weekend, on Saturday, is the Digital Summit. Sign up. We expect over maybe 2,000 to 3,000 in every event that we do in the malls. So, ang ginagamit namin ngayon ng mga malls, bakit yung mga malls? Kasi nandyan lahat ng mga madaling puntahan. And
Which mall daw ito? Digital Summit, which one?
that's in Ayala Mall by the Bay on Saturday at 10 a.m. So that's a big event. All mga influencers natin dyan, on the social media. So, isa pang maganda nangyari dito, dahil sa pandemic, ang nangyari, naging contactless. The government mandated that, in fact, social distancing. So, itong GCash, Paymaya, talagang that really made these wallets penetrate the market, which was very important. Katulad sa Amerika, may credit card sila. So that's why digitalization really flourished. So when GCash and Maya was in the hands of many Filipino people, digitalization now is all over the platforms. So itong mga platforms, Lazada, Shopee, Angkas, all of these platforms, malaking bagay yan tumutulong dito sa mga maliit na natin na negosyante. At without digitalization, mahirapan tayo. And digitalization actually has provided another area of business opportunities. Itong mga micro-influencers, marami dito sa media, nagiging micro-influencers na rin. So, halos lahat ng mga kumpanya, katulad ng RFM, ng Selecta, we have stopped advertising in TV. Right now, lahat ng focus namin sa advertising is through social media. At karamihan ng mga kinukuha namin ay itong mga maliit na influencers. Kasi they're more believable. At nakikita na rin yan sa mga social media, mga Facebook nyo, Instagram, TikTok, lahat yan. So all of these platforms, ginagamit ngayon yan ng mga maliit na negosyante. So dati, isang negosyante, mahirapan pumunta dyan sa ABS-CBN o Channel 5. Hindi naman nila kaya magbayad ng isang artista ng 1 million, 2 million. Is your TV spot, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 for 30 seconds. So that has changed the game. Now, digitalization has created more inclusivity. Yun ang pinaka-importante. So, the platforms are there for the entrepreneurs, mga maliit na negosyante, to be able to, they don't need to be in supermarkets and all of this because they cannot afford it, but they can now be in the platforms. They don't need to advertise in TV because mismo sila ang pwede maging isang micro-influencer. So, in all our programs that we do in helping our MSMEs, we are teaching them how to become a micro-influencer. Basically, if you know how to become a micro-influencer, you are yourself a marketing person. So, it is already very important, like in my experience, when we build brands, you have to spend behind advertising. Now, if you have a good product, and I've mentored so many people. Most of the time, I attend all these events, and I attend and mentor because I want to know ano pa talagang nangyayari dito sa mga maliit natin ng negosyante. And the impact is so big because in my mentoring with them, marami sa kanila umiiyak talaga. And they're happy that they're able to see not only me but many others out there, galing sa PCCI, galing sa Filipino-Chinese Chamber, maraming women organizations na sumasali na at nagiging mentor sa mga maliit na negosyante. So to me, this is the way forward, not that big business and medium-sized business kailangan tumulong dito sa mga maliit na negosyante in helping them, guiding them. So I would say that our economy will have its ups and downs. Unfortunately, the inflation hit the mark of this administration, the worldwide inflation, no? Yung pagtaas ng lahat ng mga fuel natin, hindi kasalanan natin dahil sa crisis dito sa Russia, Ukraine, at iba pa. So, that was a very bad period of high inflation. Pero ngayon, bumababa na rin. We're not yet to the lowest level, we're somewhere in the middle. So, most prices are gradually coming down. Some are still up because there are shortages, no? But eventually, inflation will temper down the way I see it, with prices going down, no? So basically, that's...
Thank you very much, Mr. Joy Concepcion, for your comprehensive overview May first question dito, tinanong by 3 journalists, and before we open the floor, you're in the jobs sector of the Presidential Advisor Board. Yung ECOP daw, PCCI and other business group including FFC, CCII daw, appealing to the legislators to go through the tripartite process daw consultation for the proposed wage increase kasi the Senate yata, some senators want a legislated wage increase nationwide of the minimum wage, which sabi nung mga taga-PCCI ECOP daw will affect negatively the MSMEs. What is your stand on this issue? Are you in favor of tripartite also, or the proposed legislated wage increase? What is your view about this now?
Well, tama rin ang mga business chambers, no, that, well, I guess, iba dyan kasi yung ibang corporation, katulad namin, may mga collective bargaining agreements na kami that we work with our employees. No? So, wages are being increased because of CBAs. Now, the non-unionized companies, iba yan, no? But I believe as we are trying to recover, we have to make sure that yung, kasi kung itataas nila yung wages, ipapasa rin ng mga ibang kumpanya dyan sa, you'll have some level of inflation. So, it's a tough thing, no? I know that our people need better income, no? But what's important is that not all companies can afford it, no? There are companies that can afford it. There are other companies who are not able to afford it because they are just coming back, no? Especially in the tourism sector. It's basically this year that they have really come back, no? So, the senators and the congressmen have their own views that the people need wage increase, but I think we have to try to achieve a balance. We have to try to see if our economy is indeed growing and business is coming back really strong, then there is no reason why wages will not be increased. No? Right now, each company, like us, we have our CBA, so that addresses that, no? So, what they are addressing is the minimum wage, basically.
Yes.
So, I think, let's see how it turns out. I maintain basically somehow a neutral view here. It's hard to say who's right and who's wrong, no? My concern really now is it's better to generate more jobs at this point in time. And if wage increase will affect jobs, then it may not be good, no? So it's a matter of how we see things, no? We want the economy to really improve. So to me, job generation is very important. Without jobs, not everybody will benefit from a wage increase, no? So to me, the priority is job generation, and once we have achieved that, then definitely wages of those who have no collective agreement can be done. I suppose raising the minimum wage, but they have to be. I know it's a balance between our inflation in the country and all of this, no? So it's a tough decision, but both sides have their own concerns.
Thank you. May tanong si Miss Sian. May dalawa pa siyang tanong.
No, sir. Oh,
Yes.
One,
Yes.
lang, sir. One lang muna, sir.
One muna.
Good morning, sir. I'm Zian Ambrosio from ABS-CBN. Sir, regarding po sa price increase, we wanted to ask, sir, your reaction sa proposal po ng TTI or pakiusap nila na i-hold muna ang pagtaas ng presyo until end of this year. Is it feasible or what do you think of that? Why or why not,
Yes,
sir?
Christmas season.
Yeah, I was told that flour prices or wheat flour prices have not increased since last year. Okay, the flour millers have not increased. That's what I was told by one of my guys who are running the business. In fact, most of our flour, we convert it into pasta and bread, no? Only half of that is sold in the market. But they have not increased price since last year. That's confirmed, you can check. I'm sure about that. So, the point being is that right now, we are trying to hold prices. In fact, even our milk, we have dropped prices lower than the market leader.
Ayun, may milk kaya?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
Selecta milk. So
Yes.
in Tetra Packs, we're now the largest. No? So many are we've rolled back and reduced our prices because we want milk to be more affordable. No, even ice cream, it's very competitive now. You've
Yes.
got a lot of new brands out there. So pabaksakan rin ang presyo dito
So,
sa ice
so
cream.
walang increase bago Christmas, you think? Ice cream?
No.
Milk?
The consumers will enjoy ice cream now because prices of ice cream have gone down, pati yung
Good
cornetto
news.
namin. So, you can see, there is more competition. So, in competition, I always use price as my strategy.
So possible yun request ng DTI na hold ang price increase up to next year?
I cannot
Tanong
speak
niya.
for all, but the sectors that we're in, like in flour, in ice cream, in
Milk.
in pasta, in milk, well, we've dropped milk price.
Mag-spaghetti tayo.
Mura nga ang spaghetti namin eh. So,
So,
what? And
you're the leader in ice cream eh.
we're the leader in ice cream.
So-
We're the leader in pasta. We're now the leader in ready to drink 1 liter milk. No?
So if you hold the price, yung mga kalaban nyo will be forced to follow you
Well,
in a way.
we're trying to
Hold the
convert
price.
powdered milk into ready to drink milk katulad sa Amerika.
Yes.
That's why we priced it as low as possible to attract the powdered milk users to switch to ready to drink milk because minsan yung mga nanay, they don't put the right quantity of milk
Yes.
or use the right water, no? So, we're trying to yung opportunity kasi dito, ang
Yes.
pinakamalaking market natin, yung masa.
Yes.
So, that is where the big volume is. So, inflation is coming down. No? And from what I see, competition will also help. No? We are all competing.
So good news yan para sa tanong niya.
Definitely, you will see
Good
ice
news
cream.
for Christmas. Ice cream.
Mura ang ice cream ngayon.
Galing. Good news. Thank you, si Anton. Thank you, Mr. Joy Concepcion. Para kayong Santa Claus for sharing the news. Kailangan for Christmas, pasta, milk, and ice cream. Wow. May tanong sila, microphone. Pakilala sa kanila.
Okay. Sir, Alan Gatos po from GMA.
GMA.
Kanina binabanggit nyo, sinimulan nyo yung statement ninyo kung nasa tamang direction ba yung
Ekonomiya.
ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. In short to ba, nasa tama ba talagang direction tayo ngayon? Nabanggit nyo kanina, pababa naman yung inflation, 4.7 last June, pero nung August, tumaas ng 5.3% yung inflation. Makaka-apekto ba to? Ano ba, talagang buti yung bigas kahit papaano, pababa na.
Oo.
Basic commodity. Right on track ho ba yung mga economic agenda ng present administration?
Yeah. Kasi minsan, when in business, we don't look at it naman too close. You have to look at it kasi, bubaba ng ganito. We should not get scared. We have to look at it at the end of the year, how it is. No? Pero ang tingin ko dito is that this government is doing what it can, to create more jobs. This government is doing what it can to contain inflation. Kaya ang ginawa nila, hindi ba may price control dito sa rice, no? There's a ceiling. Some people say that it's not going to work. But doing something is better than not doing anything. So, in fairness to this administration and President Marcos, he is really trying to help our poor people. And pati sa mga MSCs natin, his compassion for them is there, no? That he really wants Filipinos to have a better life. No? Now, this journey is not an overnight thing. It will take time. It's like Philippines Incorporated from the time, how many years back, we are slowly moving up. But there will always blips that you will also go down. Katulad ng isang kumpanya, hindi yan diretso. So it will take time. But what's important, yung basis, yung foundation niya, talagang yung ang tama. So our economists here are correct. For us, with our debt, we have to make sure that our debt to GDP is healthy, no? Kasi, katulad ng isang corporation like RFM, if I invest 10 billion in putting facilities in production and I don't hit my growth targets, then I will not be able to pay my debt. That's important. So government will have to make sure that the projects that they do will really generate revenue so that they will propel growth. Because what they're doing is creating infrastructure. Pero they're not spending on it. They're asking the private sector to do the infrastructure, which helps them from taking that burden of debt. So, kaya maganda rin ang programa na that government works with the private sector sa mga airport, mga roads, mga ganyan, and let the private sector run that. They make money, but the risk is not with the government. The risk is with the private sector. So, private sector participation, infrastructure development, and all others will really help. So, the government is clearly watching our debt to GDP now. So, if we are borrowing money, we have to grow. Now, the more money you borrow, the more growth that you have to achieve. No? So, our economists are on top of this. No?
So you like our economic managers, okay?
Yeah, I mean, you have still the Secretary Jokno there. No? He's a veteran at this in so many administrations. So I think we're in good hands. There will always be world challenges, no? Whether there's a war here, whether you have China problem here, whether you have a shortage of rice here. Ganyan talaga ang mundo. We have to just, as the President is as the CEO of Philippines Incorporated, we just have to navigate. And he has, I suppose, chosen the best people in his cabinet. The private sector is supporting him. And we just have to pray that all these programs work. And hopefully the weather cooperates with that. We don't get too much typhoons, because whatever you do, if the typhoon just destroys everything, you're back. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Alan Gatos of GMA. And may tanong dito, yes. Pakilala mo sarili niya.
Good morning, sir. Carrie Cater po from CNN Philippines. Sir, sorry, balikan ko lang po muna yung sinabi niyo dun sa request sa TTI na mag-price hikes. Kasi variety po yung nagre-request, like canned sardines, noodles, iba-ibang manufacturers po.
Yes.
Ano pong pwede kayang ibigay sa kanila? Kasi isang reason nga po is parang 11 weeks na rin yung sunod-sunod yung taas presyo sa crudo or sa produktong petrolyo. So parang di na raw po kaya. Ano pong mangyayari if hanggang end ng year di pa rin sila mag-hike ng price, lalo na nung pandemic nga raw po marami na rin silang parang hindi pagtataas ng presyo, kumbaga.
the only reason I can't really answer the sardines because we're not into that business. But it depends also yung situation ng mga sardine manufacturers, no? How good is their ability to fish, no? Kung marami silang nahuhuli na isda, no? So it all depends. Now, of course, if their cost has gone up, then there's no choice but to increase, no? Or else what will happen is they will not be able to supply, no? Because they would not lose. But hindi naman lahat ng produkto dyan ay may mga problema. Yung katulad sa harina, halos we have not increased, that's what I can answer is we have not increased prices. So, there are critical commodities that maybe have issues because of certain supply situations, katulad ng rice, no? And it's not only us, but other countries that are also importing rice, no? So, there are certain products that private sector produces that you cannot control the supply, no? So wheat is one, and others. No? But fortunately, in general, most of the prices, sugar has gone down, milk has gone down, wheat prices have gone down. So, I mean, that's why there is no need for price increases. No?
So, magandang balita, yung pang ano.
So sir, for you po, to clarify lang po, from the side din ng micro, small businesses, kaya po na i-hold muna yung price increases until year end?
Depending on the commodity. I can say bread prices can hold. No? There's no need because, as I said, from the very high level of wheat prices, it has come down. No? So there is enough margin for these flour milling companies to earn and make bawi what they lost. Kasi nung tumaas ng todo yung trigo, they couldn't increase it also or else walang bibili ng mga
Yes,
pandesal.
ayaw bumili ng pandesal. Thank
So,
you. Good news. Good news. Ay, may tanong pa sila.
Sorry,
Very good.
Last na po.
Okay lang.
Okay, Sir Rice lang po, paano po ba ano po yung magiging outlook nitong businesses na affected ng rice, gumagamit ng rice? Kasi nga po marami ring retailers na
Yes.
operating na sa loss dahil nga po sa price cap now,
Yes.
almost 3 weeks na rin pong iniiwan.
Rice retailers, pati suman, pati bibingka, lahat yung rice. Oo nga. Rice.
hard for me to understand. I don't understand the rice sector, pero the government imported from Cambodia, no,
And
rice.
got 5-year contract from
5-year
Vietnam
contract.
yata.
So they'll have that supply. Now, hopefully, that's why we have to help our farmers in the rice sector. Ang problema dito, ang dami natin bagyo na in the last
Yes,
couple
yes.
of months na talagang tinamaan. No? So, it's tough. Agriculture is very tough. We're not the only country that has problems. No? Even India and others have problems as well. No?
Yes.
So, I guess the government at least has secured a 5-year commitment already. So, but what we have to do now, which is going to be more of a longer-term approach, is
Yes.
to help our rice farmers scale up, be more efficient, group together into block farming,
Yes.
tie up with the big brothers. So yun ang programa. In fact, when the ASEAN in Jakarta,
Yes.
a couple of weeks back, I was with the president and we signed 7 out of 10 MOUs with ASEAN countries. The only ones that have not yet signed, but will eventually sign, is basically Thailand, I believe Vietnam.
Ano topic ng MOU?
It is basically to collaborate in agriculture and MSME development. So yung
okay.
magagaling, so in other words, yung mga big brothers nila at yung mga bigger brothers natin, we will try to share that information. So what are the opportunities? The big brothers in, let's say, Cambodia or Jakarta, who are good in, let's say, in Malaysia, rubber or palm oil, rice, will match with our big brothers here. And whatever they also need help from us, we can share our big brothers. So it will be a collaboration of the best agri-big brothers within ASEAN. And halos lahat sang-ayon naman dito. There is nothing to lose. So the former Trade Minister of Malaysia flew
Yes.
in.
Yes, last Friday.
Yeah. So after the MOU signing in Jakarta, at sabi ni Presidente, maski 50% lang dito ay succeed, okay na yan. So at least that initiative that we're trying to do in ASEAN, kasi
Yes.
maraming talented na entrepreneurs dyan na pwedeng tumulong sa atin at pwede rin tayo tumulong sa kanila. Because we have experts in cacao, we have experts in coconut, kay Christian Moller. So it will be a sharing of business models, no? And I think, I mean, we're doing whatever we can, no? It's, as I said, the journey in agriculture is not going to be easy. Hindi katulad ng mga sari-sari stores, maraming silang, they have a lot of help. Kasi itong mga digital platforms, may alternative na sila eh. They can put their products in the digital platforms. Itong mga malaking supermarkets, wholesalers,
Yes.
they are already also moving towards digitalization. So they're helping them. Maraming digital players ngayon, mga Sarisuke, Packworks, and all of that ay talagang tumutulong sa mga sari-sari stores. So I'm confident that the big brothers are now coming in to help because it is important that if you don't have your product in the sari-sari store, you're not a player. So to have your product in a
Yes.
sari-sari store, that means you're the top 1 or 2 brand. So, and that,
How many sari-sari stores do we have in the country?
ang dami, over 500,000.
Over-
Marami dyan, hindi pa registered, no? So,
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Do you have follow-up or anybody? Yes.
Quick question lang po, Sir Joey.
Please introduce
Eric po from
yes.
Radyo Pilipinas. Sir,
Yes.
I'd like to ask, comparing to 2022, are we looking at a better Christmas for MSMEs this year?
Compared to last year.
months na po. And
Yes.
of course, better jobs ba ang katapat din po nito? Thank you.
definitely, I'm very optimistic that this Christmas will be a very good Christmas. Why? Because inflation has tempered down. It may not be to where it was a couple of years back, but it's down, moving down, and I think a lot of MSMEs have also recovered. Maybe not fully, but they are at least cash flow
Yes.
positive. And every year, Christmas, every Filipino spends. So, we have to encourage people to spend, no? That's how the economy moves up.
Yes.
But for people to spend, they have to have an income, no? Or a job, no? So, ang kalabasan nun, importante, lahat ng tao natin may trabaho. Number 2, if they want better pay, they have to upskill. Because if you want a better pay, you cannot be what you are today. You will receive that same pay. But if you want to be, let's say, from a waiter to be one day a chef, you have to learn to reach
Yes.
that level, no? And maraming pwedeng umasenso dyan. Kaya itong mga eskwela natin, and that's one focus of the PISAC jobs, is to really upskill and work with the schools, no? Very important yan. And in fact, even in DepEd, itong senior high, one of our wishes with Sara Duterte, VP Sara,
Yes.
is to really teach entrepreneurship at a young age, no? Kasi I have a young kid, she's 16 years old, and she's already has her own business. So it's very important na we should start teaching them at least the entrepreneurial mindset. So yun ang ino-offer namin, especially for senior high, no?
So you feel better Christmas?
Every Christmas, we have to feel better.
Yes. May tanong. Yes. Pakilala niyo sarili.
This is Jared Paragaso from Kidlat News Channel.
Yes.
One concern po kasi po ng mga mamayan natin ngayon, especially pag punta po kayo sa palengke, is itong presyo po ng gulay is super taas.
Presyo ng gulay.
Question ko lang po, what are we doing para to ease po yung price without naman sacrificing na yung mga farmers natin ay hindi sila malugi?
Well, we really have to. The only way here is, it's a long-term solution, is to scale up our farmers. And it's not easy. The big companies are able to do it. Now, a farmer alone will use the old technology. So the only way he has to be, and this is why we're pushing this very hard, is to join and be part of the value chain of the Big Brother. So the CALA program, and we are really seriously pushing it, is to really entice the farmers na mag-partner na lang kayo with the Big Brothers, no? And they have pledged that they will give a fair share to the farmers if they become partners. So ako, that's one way. Or join a cooperative, no? But then again, the technology of these Big Brothers are very advanced. And that's why they're number one in their area. So we've worked, we're really pushing for this program to really work. Of course, over time, many of these big brothers will be able to train these farmers, and these farmers can eventually, if they're big enough, they can move on their own. No? They don't need to be attached to a big brother for the rest of their life. But maybe in their first 1, 2, or 3 years, they can join the big brothers, and as they get to know that the technique, the technology, then eventually they can move on. No? Katulad nitong mga franchisees ng Jollibee, McDonald's, Potato Corner, these are simple entrepreneurs who apply for a franchise. They pay a fee. But what that comes with is a good brand, mentorship, and of course, a market, because itong mga brands na ito kilala na. So if you follow even the franchising model into an agri model, but it's not franchising, it's partnership, the entrepreneur will learn. So I mean, my sister has a Jollibee store, so she's trained by them. She uses their brand. They're doing well. They're making money. So that's how it works, no? So you have applied that to other businesses. It's already in services. You apply it to agriculture. It can work through the Big Brother model.
How can they contact you now? The small micro sa Pilipinas, do you have a website now they could contact your NGO?
Eventually,
or
what we
negosyo?
will post out there are itong mga telephone numbers, addresses of the Big Brothers. If they want to go into Coconut, with their permission, we will advertise all of this. No? At yung mga Big Brothers natin, they want to expand. But they want to expand not by themselves, but working with our farmers. No? They also want to help our farmers.
Sir, last follow-up question.
Yes.
Sir, you're mentioning po this big project, ng Big Brother project. So, do you think po ba if it becomes successful, meron po siyang trickle-down effect na bababa rin po yung presyo, na affordable naman po sa mga masa?
Yes.
Kasi yung teknolohiya na ginagamit ng mga Big Brothers, eventually will be passed on to them. And they will have scale. Compare one farmer, doing 1 or 2 hectares. It's hard to have scale, no? So kaya they work with cooperatives. There are good cooperatives, and there are also cooperatives that are not successful. So, ang sinasabi natin is that you have to pinpoint the cooperatives that are good and that will help you, no? So, dito naman sa Big Brothers, I would say the technology that they have is far more advanced, no? They have a better track record with the banks. Importante yan. Kasi we invited all the banks, no? And we talked to them. Are they willing to lend in the agricultural sector? Most of them are not willing to do it.
Even the micro, they don't lend daw, sabi ni ECO President. Yung mga micro, ayaw nila daw.
Because the big banks don't lend naman the micro. But the rural banks, some of the bigger banks now are trying to focus on micro. Pero ibang grupo yan eh. Bayan yata, is that BPI Banco. There are many. They're creating these units that can cater to, kasi ito mga kailangan more or less microfinance institutions. What I'm trying to say is that if banks are scared to lend in the agri sector, they know the challenges. So how do we get them to lend? We have to make the farmers viable. And for the farmers to become viable, they have to be attached to somebody. Katulad I explained to you, a Jollibee, a McDonald's, a Mang Inasal, or whatever, na may mentor that can help them. Then, access to market, kilala na ang brand ng itong mga malaking fast food. So they don't need to advertise, di ba? So may market na yan. The moment that the bank sees that may mentor, may access to market, and they're being guided, they will lend. So the problem is, the banks have to be confident that they are in these micro and small farmers natin are in the hands of reputable big brothers, no? And it works. I've seen that with contra farming of contra growing of chicken, hogs, etc. I mean, it's being done. It's nothing new, really. It's nothing new.
So the small ones will tie up with the big, generous big brothers.
Correct, correct.
Tie up.
It's already actually happening ngayon with them. These big brothers they have a lot of growers with them, no?
Like the chicken.
Yeah, chicken.
Chicken
And you also have
others.
Simon Baker for cacao, many others. So they would rather work with the farmers and get them as partners, or they will just lease the land from the farmers. So they have two options.
Parang durian din, exporters, I heard.
Everything. That is the mode really all over the world.
Yes. Thank you. We have only, if you're sure, kasi you have an appointment in Makati, maybe one or two last questions. May tanong dito, kahit a short answer lang daw, what is your stand on the economic manager's proposal to temporarily lower import tariff rates sa rice para hindi malaki ang pressure on the rice supply temporarily daw, sabi ni Secretary Diokno, na ayaw ng ibang mga farmers and agri-groups. What is your thinking about the proposal temporarily daw, i-lower ang rice tariff para more rice to come in temporarily para hindi sobrang mahal daw ang rice? What is your stand?
Well, it's very hard to one side is
Yes.
where that the prices of rice will go down and it will affect their harvest.
Yes.
On the other side, you also have the consumers to protect, no? So
Yes.
you have to balance how you protect your farmers and how you
Yes.
protect your consumers. That happens also with sugar, with rice.
Yes. You use a lot of sugar.
So it's a tough balance, no? And it's hard to say who is right, who is wrong, no? It's really up to the president to make that decision.
Yes.
Where is the greater impact, no? If the greater impact will be with the consumer, then it will be the consumer. But if the greater impact is with, the rice producers
Farmers.
and farmers, then so it's a tough thing. I leave that up to our economists because they would know, and
Yes.
and the government. No?
Thank you. Maybe one or two more questions, just in case. So, can we summarize all your points again? Today, despite the ADB forecast na downgrade yung economic growth of the Philippines for the year, the good news is you are telling us, if I'm correct, na in your sectors at least, sa pasta, sa milk, ice cream, and even flour, ito sa flour area, prices will be stable or even possibly going down, di ba? Kaya, yun gusto ng DTI.
I think it would be. I mean, of course, you cannot be perfect in every commodity because
Yes.
there will always be a shortage. We don't live in a perfect world. But I'm confident that we should not look at one number and be discouraged. No?
Yes.
It should be the final number. Even in our growth, I mean, we were down
Yes.
in the first quarter, now we're up. No, so
Yes.
let's not we should not focus on this. We have to look at it in its totality. If the drop was huge, then it's a
Yes.
different story. But it's very mild, no. So I wouldn't look at it that way. Let's do what has to be done. Let's try to balance our efforts in protecting the consumer and, of course, the producers of
Yes.
because you have to maintain
Foods.
that balance, no? Because if
Yes.
they lose money, then they will stop. And that's in history. I mean, in all presidencies, that is always a big problem.
You have to mention something. Two journalists watching via Facebook Live asking for kahit na konting details about your digital sign-up. Kasi they heard how your special guest is DTI Secretary Pascual daw for this Saturday. Can you promote it? Baka we could have a screenshot of your digital tie-up. That means you want the micro and small entrepreneurs to go to Ayala Mall this Saturday and be part of the digitalization.
So, itong digital sign-up
Yeah.
summit,
We have this big screen.
this is not the first time that we've done it. We've done it many times, no? So,
Yes.
what sign up is means that get to know yung mga apps na makakatulong sa
Yes.
negosyo mo, no? So, all of them will be there. All the platforms will be there. A lot of emphasis is
Yung mga
being-
Lazada, Shopee, nandyan din.
all of
They're
them,
together.
all of them. And what's more important, we have, I think, maybe about 40 influencers who will be there.
40 influencers.
So they will be on stage teaching people. Kasi I really believe that
Yes.
the way forward for our entrepreneurs to succeed is if they're in a platform, they have to know marketing.
So
Now,
parang guerrilla sila.
So,
Yes.
kasi kami, we have brand managers. Isang,
Yes.
you-
You have advertising budget.
I have advertising budget. Sila naman, mismo sila ang production.
Parang guerrilla.
Oh. So they're micro and they need help. So they may have a good product pero hindi makikilala kasi wala silang way to promote. Ngayon, social media
Yes.
will allow them to promote, no? If you look at all those videos coming out in
Yes.
TikTok, very creative.
Yes, TikTok is very effective marketing.
Instagram, TikTok.
Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook pa rin.
Yeah. So, that is the best thing to me that has happened
In
for
the
us.
pandemic.
Because our MSMEs don't have a way to project their service or their
Yes.
products. No? So this is how they will learn. And that's why we encourage everyone to attend. No?
So Saturday, 10 a.m. So all the MSMEs could just go there at 10 or before and sign up.
It's all free. There's
Yes.
not charge or anything.
Thank you. We'd like to request you, Mr. Joy Concepcion, to give a closing statement to summarize your outlook for the Philippine economy, tapos addressing the questions nila dito kanina, yung DTI request to maintain stable prices of foods up to at least New Year, Christmas, New Year. Your closing statement, Mr. Joey Concepcion.
Well, this morning I got a text from someone that told me, why do we have to send people abroad to work? As marine, people working the cargo ships, nurses, and all of that, it's destroying our society.
Kilala ko yan. Big shipping person.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, my answer to him is basically like this. Every Filipino has the right to a better life. And if his skill is more wanted in high demand in another
Locally.
country, you cannot stop him from going there. That is his opportunity. He's taking a huge sacrifice moving away from his family for quite a number of years. So, that is not a defect in the Philippine society. It is just that we cannot pay as high a wage rate as these countries can do because they're more progressive. They're already up there, no? And we are going towards that level. So eventually, these people will be able to help their children go to better schools, own a house or a car. So we cannot stop that. And I guess job generation here is very important. And that is why we really have to upskill because these people, as they move overseas, we lose nurses for our hospitals. So we have to, and this is where the jobs group is looking at jobs that are in huge demand and marketing it, convincing our people in school or are going to go to college. These are the jobs that are high in demand, that pay well. Why don't you focus on these areas? So that is what the PISAC Jobs Group is doing. No? I think in the end, we have to be optimistic. And sometimes it's in the nature of some people to always look at the dark side. And in life, if we always look at the dark side and the negative side, we will end up there. So when I see an entrepreneur trying hard but still hopeful, that's the right attitude. So as a nation, if we want this country to become great, we should, in our small way, help in what other way. And that way is, don't discourage people. Encourage them, motivate them, and inspire them. And I think if we do that to one another, this nation will go places.
Thank you very much again to Mr. Joey Concepcion, founder of Go Negosyo, and also President Bongbong Marcos's Jobs Committee lead, Private Sector Advisory Council. We have a tradition here, Mr. Concepcion. It doesn't matter if you're Bongbong or Lenny or Leo de Guzman or movie star or ambassador. Yesterday, Israel ambassador was here. All of guests gets pandesal. The traditional, you have your pandesal there. Yes. But since it's almost Mid-Autumn Festival also next week, September 29, we added today for you mooncake also, which is made of flour also. We have a picture dapat.
Yeah. Baka you should use a Republic.
Yes, dapat RFM. Alam mo, I saw a picture of you as a kid. You were the celebrity endorser ng RFN nung bata kayo, no? There's a big picture of you. Tsaka, good news, thank you to Mr. Joy Concepcion for helping micro, small, and medium enterprises in the country for many years already. And also for assuring us, at least, Selecta ice cream will be stable ang presyo, RFM flour, and Selecta milk. Kaya good news. Tsaka pasta. Anong brand ng pasta niyo, Mr. Concepcion? Baka you can mention your pasta brand.
Royal at Fiesta.
Royal and Fiesta brand. Mas mura tsaka good quality flour ang ginagamit. So at least good news yan for the consumers. And sabi ni Mr. Concepcion, let us not forget, always be optimistic no matter what happens. And sabi pa niya, the Philippines will be better if we upscale ourselves and improve ourselves, diba? And tie up with the big guys. And sabi niya, we have 3 more months. We can help make the GDP growth faster. Whatever happens. We should stand up siguro, no, for picture taking. Thank you to Mr. Joy Concepcion, brilliant civic leader and business leader. Thank you, Mr. Concepcion, for inspiring us and motivating us here. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you to our media friends for last-minute invitation kasi very busy si Mr. Concepcion. Umuo lang siya yesterday afternoon. So thank you for coming here to listen to his very good ideas. Thank you, Mr. Concepcion, for inspiring everyone. Thank you.